back to another episode of Inside Access Control, sponsored by SIA. Very excited today to have Lauren.Berk join me. She's with Wello, Inc. Lauren, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you, Lee. It's nice to be here.
Of course. So if you would, why don't you introduce yourself, the company? I know you and I've had many conversations now leading up to this, and the access control side of this is new to the organization, at least on the security side, but the company has been steep in one aspect. So why don't you just give a quick introduction to yourself, how you got in the business, and then what Wello does?
Yeah, I'm currently Chief Operating Officer at Wello. My background is in developing products and working on products in emerging fields. I was an early member of the Google Cloud team. I worked at a drone startup. I also was an early member of Tesla Solar Roof and eventually a part of the Tesla Model 3 ramp. I've actually been a longtime advisor to Wello, and I just recently joined in June on their executive team after they really experienced this overnight product market fit due to the pandemic. Wello has actually been around since 2013 with the same mission, which is to stop the spread of contagious illness and promote a healthy work environment. And we began R&D on our flagship product in 2014 after there was an Ebola scare in Dallas, where we are headquartered. We brought Wello Station X to market in 2018 after a rigorous clinical trial and an FDA clearance process. And that makes us the only automated self-serve Class 2 medical device thermometer on the market right now. We have patented technology that allows our end users to get unambiguous, repeatable, and accurate temperature readings. A little bit about the background of Wello is that pre-COVID, we were primarily in healthcare and long-term care, daycares, and in jails. Now we're everywhere where business continuity and healthy employees matter. And this is really, at least now with companies that can work from home, are considered essential, are compliance-oriented, really, really amazing set of customers that we've developed relationships with. The product itself, what we provide companies is really a form of access control. We print out badges. We do integrations with companies that help screen people before they enter a building. We also offer population-wide stats. We do like an early warning system, even before fevers are detected, just if temperatures are elevating. We also have a customer success team who provides our customers, since many of them are really new to this whole area, we provide them with best practices on how to use and implement the technology.
Yeah, no, it's quite a background on yourself and the company on that. And as we've talked about, this is quite topical and going to stay away from the theoretical conversations around the practice of it, because I'm a believer that it's not this sort of single bullet that everyone was looking for to be the solution. It's part of an overall, set of tools, if you would, to make people feel comfortable and safe. And then on your end, though, it's been used, and why I found yours interesting versus some of the other ones that are in the marketplace is you come from an area that has been applying this technology for certain reasons, and then is being brought into, I would say, the broader getting back to work type situation, which a lot in our industry are focused on. So if you were to look at it, you mentioned healthy work environment. So and then you mentioned it as a best practice. What are some of the sort of core tenets that you see, if you would, of people not only just applying your technology, but overall, like what is that drives that sort of healthy work environment?
Yeah, I mean, this is the core to our company and what we are striving to help deliver, not just within the pandemic, before the pandemic, and well after COVID-19 pandemic as well. But basically, there has always been an obligation that employers have had to their employees to keep them safe. We see that with OSHA regulations. We see that in regards to, incident reporting even environmental health regulations as well. We've always thought infection control was a part of that. And what we've learned from our customers too is that many of them have felt that way too, but they didn't have the programs or tools to introduce that improved and safer work environment. So the idea of infection control is basically this idea that when you, that employers have really woken up to their responsibility, basically to keep people safe, not just, with incidents and other types of health issues, but also to keep each other safe from, or to keep themselves safe from getting each other sick, right? And that's like the most basic piece.
Yeah, no, I got you. And so the core basic side of, if you talk about the application, like in jails and then also in senior living, how before pandemic, how was your product being utilized there?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of works in a few different ways. The first one is the most obvious one, and where it's least important to have an accurate thermometer, but in deterrence. So basically, employees are less likely to show up to work sick if they know that they're being going to be checked for potential elevated body temperature. The second way it's applied is within self-screening, and this is really interesting and where it's really important to have an accurate tool for the job. But basically, if an employee walks into work every day and sees that they are at 97.8 to 98.1, and then they walk into work one day and their temperature is 99.2, maybe it's not considered a fever and it's not a means to to deny someone entry, but it's a really important piece of data for that employee. And we've seen so many anecdotal cases of people who have decided to leave work and have then gone home, nursed colds, nursed the flu, because they were able to spot that slight change in temperature. So really, really early on. And then of course there's an access warning, early warning system that I referenced, which is just basically the ability to detect across a population if temperatures are rising, because that's how spread works. It doesn't just affect one person, it's multiple people. And then of course there's access control, which we've talked a lot about. So printing of the badge, it's helping us all feel confident that our facilities are safer.
Yeah, so it's a case of almost an aspect of data, right? So it's a data point to be used to make some aspect of a decision, and then it sounds like also then a sense of trust in some cases with whether it's the badge that shows that this person's been scanned and they're considered healthy or no, don't have whatever the determination is. It's a sense of sort of trust that there's care being taken around that. On the access control side, what have you seen as somebody coming, I would say, from call it the outside in to the access control center? What are some of your impressions and thoughts when it comes to access control as it pertains to maybe just in general, but then also as it pertains to where your expertise lies?
Well, I mean, it's clear it's a really wonderful community. Like I've met so many people who are working on access control, thinking about it all of the time. And that's been the first thing, which is just the people who are really passionate about this space and doing really cool work in it. Two, I think it's a combination of technology and trust, as you discussed. It's not all technology, right? A lot of the other spaces I've been in have been hardcore, technology. But with access control, you have to have both technology and trust. The two go hand in hand. So you could be developing, the coolest robotic product out there, but if you're not developing a sense of trust between your users, the employers, the employees, they don't understand the intention behind what you're doing, then it's going to be less successful, or you're going to have pushback in doing it. Like when we talk to our customers, a lot of them are companies that have been around for hundreds of years. They have perfect safety records. They did all the research to find the product that is FDA cleared, et cetera, et cetera. They're the ones who could not shut down. They were in essential businesses, and the CEO wrote a personal memo, to every single employee to explain what safety measures they were introducing, why they were doing temperature checks, and how it was going to help them be safer. And so these are the kinds of communities that I've stumbled into, and access control has been like one of my favorites. So I've really enjoyed meeting everybody and talking about the technology.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that it's been open and warm, if you would. If you were to, so, put on, well, if I look at your background, there's an aspect of innovation at all of those places that you've been at. That's sort of a centerpiece of it, right? And then our industry has been, I would say, very heavy in the iteration side and somewhat aspiring for the innovation end of it. As someone who's been steep in the innovation side and is coming to the side, I mean, what do you see as sort of the key parts of how they've been successful? What are you're laughing, and how some of the best practices that you've seen, how can they be applied to this industry?
I mean, I think that in some ways it sounds crazy, but everybody thinks that their industry is slow or like too slow, to adopt things or to adopt new technology. And so I just haven't been in the access control space long enough to vet that and compare it directly against some of the spaces that I've been in. So maybe I disagree slightly on the premise of the question, or don't feel like as
you can
as educated enough as to speak on it. No, I mean, I think that one of the reasons why access control is probably more difficult to make some of the step changes, that we were able to do at some of the other companies that I worked at, is because it's in the physical construction space. I mean, and when I was working on a drone startup, my customers were construction companies as well. And I was just kind of working at the very, very top level of like very advanced technological people who were trying to speed along technology within construction. So it's really similar there. And I think there's probably a really similar breakdown, which is there's this, top upper echelon of people like you and your partners and the companies that you're working with who are really making changes. And then over time, as those things that are either easy to adopt or, make step changes to value and, to what we're trying to do with access control, that the innovation will continue. But yeah, I think in the physical construction space, it's slower and harder in general than like software.
Thank you for acknowledging it. It makes me feel better. So I appreciate it. No,
Too hard on yourself.
No, I appreciate that. So what are some of the things that you, as you yourself, but then also the company, are looking for? Are you looking for more partners? Are you looking for, of course, everyone wants customers. I get that. But what are you looking for from, say, our industry?
I'm looking to learn. I'm looking to have more conversations like these. We are looking for key partners. I've definitely run into cases where it seems like Wello is a great fit, but we don't have an existing relationship or something within a security organization. You guys are a very tight-knit group. So definitely looking for partners and learning, and the types of partners we're looking for are folks who are really thinking about the combination of security and care. So a lot of the R&D that we're doing is, around detecting contagiousness, getting closer to helping organizations keep spread at bay. So that means not always just detecting fever, and that means that there might be follow-up that's required with an individual, because again, it's not like, oh, your badge doesn't work, go home. Like your badge here, you're not getting your badge, you might be ill. So again, back to those customers who really care about their employees, we want to find ways to help them. And we don't know exactly what the answer is, but I know that partnerships and then this community can be an excellent aid. So that's what we're looking for.
All right. If people want to find out more information, where's the best place to go?
I actually recommend emailing me. My email is Lauren.Berk at welloinc.com.
Easy enough. Well, so Lauren, I appreciate you taking the time. I've enjoyed the interactions that we've had so far. I find that your approach, especially because of the history that the company has, the expertise in that area, the FDA approvals and things like that, and then now applying it to it's somewhat, I'll call it a similar use case, but a little bit different in the case of sort of the users, if you would, of what they're looking to do. But everything from the customer care team that you have, best practices, and then also your desire to be open to curiosity and question has been great so far. So thank you for taking the time. I'd recommend the industry sort of reaching out, getting to know what you all are doing and seeing how you could participate in a practical sort of way that makes a lot of sense and adds value. So thank you, Lauren. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee.
Of course.